Okay, so I'm glutton for punishment, I guess. Let's go ahead and do page 201 through 220 of this book. And then tomorrow, that'll make it a lot less to read for you and share with you. But I'm going to leave you hanging this time and make you wonder what happened. Did they have the marriage, or was it a Triple H and Stephanie marriage? By that I mean, was it interrupted the first time? And, well, it was technically a Test and Stephanie marriage, and Triple H interrupted. But anyway, back to the book. And here we go. We're starting in at page 201, chapter 10. Jace looked into those big amber brown eyes of hers and knew she wasn't going for it. He felt like a total fool. But so what? He wasn't giving up yet. Come on, he coaxed. Put the dress down, eat your breakfast, we'll talk. She blinked and stared. I don't have time for talking. I have a plane to catch. No, you don't. You don't have to go. You can stay here with me. She wrinkled her nose and shook her head in disbelief. What planet are you from? I can't believe that you just... He took a step toward her jaws. Don't. She lurched away, almost tripping on the veil that hung down her back. But by then she stopped and she stared at him, clutching that giant dress, her slim shoulders drooping, and then out of nowhere she started to cry. Oh, Jace. Fat tears trailed down her soft cheeks. What are we doing? Are we going crazy? What's happening here? Page 202. He felt crappy, bad, rotten, and really for a minute there he thought he'd had a great idea. And wait, hold on just a minute. It was a great idea. He just needed to convince her of how really perfect it was. Joss, come on, don't cry. Please don't cry. He took another step. She didn't jump away that time, but only stood there, tears dripping from her chin, her nose turning red. Here, he said, give me that. Give me all that. A tiny sob escaped her. My dress, you mean? Yeah, come on, give it here. She continued to cry, making sad little sniffling sounds as he eased big white dress off her shoulder and gently laid it over her suitcase with a sniffle of pure misery. She asked, why did you do that? Lie to your mother? It's bad. It's very bad to lie to your mother. Give me that, too, he said, and took the giant bale and set it atop the dress, and he whipped a couple of tissues from the box on the side table and returned it to her. Here, dry your eyes. She frowned at the tissues, but then she took them. She blew her nose and wiped away the tears, and then she gazed up at him wearing a shattered expression that somehow managed to be trusting, too. Now, are you going to talk to me? He took her a smooth, slim hand and thought how right it felt in his hand. She didn't pull away, so he led her to the table and guided her down into a chair in the front of her plate. He poured her some coffee, took a warming lid off the plate. Eat, he said. She picked up the fork, and there was another knock at the door. She stiffened, whimpered, What now? He put his hands on her shoulders, gentling her. It's nothing, just the toast I ordered. Eat. He went to the door, got his toast, tipped the attendant, and returned to the living area, where Joss was sipping her coffee and staring out the window at the snow-capped peak of Thunder Mountain. I'm waiting, she said, without looking at him. This had better be good. Page 202, 203, 204. She didn't sound happy, but at least she stopped crying. He set the toast on the table and reclaimed his chair. She did look at him then. One eyebrow inched toward her hairline. Well? He decided to lay it out for her. Marry me. We'll buy the hitch and post. You can teach me how to run it. We'll get a big house with a wide front porch, just like you always dreamed about, on a nice piece of land where we can have a large flop-eared dog and a couple of horses. Then we'll get to work on having that whole bunch of loud, rowdy kids. She set down her coffee cup and looked at him sideways. You just want to have Boom Boom with me again. As if he would deny that. Well, yeah, the Boom Boom is great. It's all great with us. And come on, think about it. You want to get married and have kids, and I want you here in Thunder Canyon with me. And when Ma started in about wedding bells, it all just fell into place. Why the hell shouldn't we both get what we really want? Why should you go? You don't even really want to go, do you? She pressed her lips together and stared out the window again. This is page 204, 205. He didn't let her off the hook. Look at me, Josh. Slowly she turned her head and met his eyes. She wore a slightly stunned expression. What? Her voice was a little bit more husky. He rose from his chair just enough to capture her beautiful mouth. He kissed her hard. "Marry me." She stared at him for about half a century, dark eyes huge and anxious in her amazing face. Finally she sighed. "Your mother, I think she really is thrilled at the idea that we're getting married." "Yeah, so?" "Well, we just met. Shouldn't she be warning us to take it slow?" "Josh, she sees what you do for me. She's relieved that I'm back among the living, after months of dragging around like a ghost in myself. She thinks that we're good together. Why shouldn't she be happy at the thought that we're making it legal?" Slowly she shook her head. "She's just so different than my mom. That's all. If we, do this, my mom is going to hit the ceiling. She's not going to go right through the roof. She's going to go right through the roof, and it's not going to be pretty. You can take my word on that." Page 206. "Don't borrow trouble. We'll deal with your mother together when the time comes. But really, our getting married seems crazy, insane. I mean, yeah, you're right about things being good with us. You do it for me. You're the absolute best on so many levels." He felt triumph rising. "And you do it for me. But get real. It's been a week. It's not like it's an undying love or anything." "So what?" She kicked him under the table, not hard, but right on the shin. He winced. "Ow, that hurt." She had her soft mouth all pinched up. "I don't like you dissing love, Jace. I happen to believe that love matters." He reached down and rubbed his leg right where she kicked him. "Okay, it matters, I guess, if you say so, but I mean, well, what is it anyway?" She glared at him. "What do you mean, what is it?" "Well, I mean, you love Kitty Donovan, right?" She sat there completely still for a moment, her face somber, her eyes unhappy, and then with a heavy sigh she slumped back in her chair. "I thought you loved Kenny." She shook her head. Now I only wonder, page 207, how I could have thought that. I look back now and only see the good thing that I can say about him is that at first he was a nice guy." "Exactly, that's it. I thought I loved Tricia Lavelle. And what did I love, really? Who did I love? I swear I didn't even know her. I saw her at a party standing by a grand piano wearing a short sparkly red dress, long blonde hair shining in the light from the chandelier over her head. She looked really good in that dress, and what did I do? Out of nowhere on the spot I decided it must be love." He made a low disbelieving sound. "Me, Jason Traub, in love? I mean, come on, where did that come from? Until I got a look at Tricia in that red dress, all I ever wanted from any woman was a good time and for her to go on her way when I was ready to go to sleep." Josh's expression had relaxed a little. She reminded him, "Your mother said you've been looking for the right woman." He grunted. "My mother said I've been looking for you." "She meant the right woman." "Okay, fine. Yeah, I guess I have been looking lately for the right woman, for all the things that really matter in life, for the things I never realized how much I wanted. But love? I said that a minute ago. Honestly, I don't have a clue about love. I don't even want to go there. I'm just a guy doing the best I can to make my life a good one, to get involved." Page 208. She pulled a face. "Get involved?" "Yeah, with my community, you know. With this community, like Aunt Melba said the first day I met her. Get involved, young man. Stop sitting on the sidelines of life, quote unquote. I admit, I just wanted to get away from her when she said it, but that doesn't mean she wasn't 100% right." Josh almost smiled. "So?" Her velvety gaze sparkled with challenge. "The mystery woman's name was Tricia Lavelle, huh?" He picked a piece of toast and then realized he didn't want it after all. He set it down. "That's right." She put her hand on his arm. It felt good there. He wanted to scoop her up and carry her back to the bedroom. He might keep her there all day and into the night, but first he had to convince her that they could be a great team in the lifetime kind of way. "I want to hear about her, about Tricia Lavelle," Josh said, as he pretty much expected she would. "I want the story, all of it." He groaned. "Now?" She repeated, "All of it." He pushed his plate away. "It's pretty damn embarrassing. I act like an idiot." That was 208, 209. "Hey, you're talking to a girl who was going to marry Kenny Donovan, remember?" He held her gaze. "You're no idiot. You always knew what you wanted, and that cheating creep just had you so convinced that he was it. And from what you said, he was it. At first." "Thank you," she said softly, and then she added, "Now about the thing you and Tricia had." Resigned, he explained, "All that happened with her is that I saw a good-looking girl in a red dress, and I had completely out there reaction. Instead of admitting I wanted what I always wanted, an overnight and totally unmeaningful relationship, I decided that I was in love with it, which is a complete pile of crap. I'm not just that deep. I have no idea what love really is, and I'm better off not kidding myself that I do. I see that now. I just need to go for what works and what's right and leave it at that." She squeezed his arm. "Tell me more about her." "Heck, you're kidding me. You want more?" "I do. Yes, more." He tried to bargain. "First, tell me first that this isn't going to ruin my chance at getting you to marry me." She almost smiled, but not quite. "Talk." So he did. I met her through her dad, Jack Lavelle. Jack's rich as Rupert Murdoch, a legendary oil man. He was the real-life wildcatter back in the day. In fact, he was once in the partnership with my dad. You don't mean Pete, do you? "No, I mean my birth father." "And Tricia, is she in the oil business as well?" "Are you kidding? She might break a nail. Tricia dabbled in modeling a couple years ago. She even made the cover of Sports Illustrated. But she's never had to work. She has trust funds for her trust fund. One look at her in that slinky sequin party dress standing by that grand piano in the front sitting room of her daddy's Highland Park mansion, all that blonde hair and the golden waves to her perfect butt, singing that Yellow Rose of Texas for her adoring daddy and all his rich guests, and I was gone, gone, gone." Josh brushed his shoulder with all the comforting hand. "It's not so surprising that you fell for her. She sounds pretty fabulous." "She did look fabulous. I'm not denying that. But what's that old saying about all that glitters?" Josh smiled at him, and a rueful sort of smile. "Go on." "You sure you haven't heard enough?" "I'm waiting." "Fine, all right. We spent the holidays in a series of luxury hotels all over the world. For the first time I thought I understood what it was to be head over heels for a woman. I bought an engagement ring with a rock the size of the Alamo. And on New Year's Eve I went down on one knee and proposed. He left it there. Maybe she would just let it go. He wished." "And?" she prompted softly. "Tricia got cagey." "Cagey how?" "She said she loved me madly, of course, but she was only 24, much too young to settle down. She said, couldn't we just go on having fun, and then in a few years when she got old, that's exactly how she put it, when I get old, quote unquote, then we could talk seriously about getting married. She said I could move to Dallas and get work there with her daddy because Tricia was never ever leaving her daddy. Well, except temporarily for a prime modeling gig in New York, or to lie." Page 210 to 11, 212. "Around slathered with suntan oil, wearing a bikini the size of a postage stamps abroad a friend's yacht on a French Riviera." Josh said, "And the last thing you ever wanted was to go work for anybody's daddy." He chuckled then, and even though he knew the sound that didn't even have any humor in it, "You got that right. Plus, as I said, Lavelle's in the oil business, and by then I was already thinking I might want out of the oil business. I was thinking what I wanted." He frowned as he let that sentence wander off. "You wanted what?" "The truth is, at that point I didn't really know what I wanted, but it wasn't to spend another 5 or 10 years jetting around the world with some spoiled little rich girl. Suddenly I was seeing my supposedly perfect woman in a whole new and not very attractive light. I was starting to wonder what my problem was, wondering what I thought I was up to, generally speaking. All the things I'd been so sure of in my life, my place in my family business, my no-strings-attached lifestyle, I was all at once itching to change. I thought Tricia was the solution to the vague, unanswered questions that had started nagging in my brain, but within a few days of blowing off my marriage proposal, I saw that it was never going to work with her. I realized I didn't even like Tricia that much." "So what did you do?" "I felt so stupid. Here I'd been telling her I would love her forever, and now all I wanted to do was get free of her. So I tried to be really smooth and subtle, and I told her that maybe we ought to go cool it for a while. What'd she say to that? She said she was fine with her. Said that ever since I started in on her to marry me, that I hadn't been any fun anyway." "Wow, that was kind of cold." He grunted. "That was pure Tricia. She's a girl who just wants to have fun and to live near her daddy." "So that was the end of it?" "Yeah, it really bummed me out, but Not for the same reason my whole family assumes, not because she ripped my heart out and ate it for breakfast like everyone seems to think. By the end, I didn't really give a damn about Tricia. In fact, I realized I probably never had given a damn about her. I was just glad that it was all over without any big scenes, but all the questions in my head about the way my life was going, about my work for Tribe Oil, 212, 213, 214, about all of it, those questions were nagging me worse than ever. I had to realize I had no idea what I wanted. I only knew that I didn't want that life that I had. I went into a really low period after that. A depression, you mean? I don't know if I would call it that. It was just, well, I didn't care much about. I blew off Jackson and Layla's wedding. I was so down. I regret that a lot. I decided to quit the family business. I had no interest in things that I used to enjoy, like casual relationships and women. That's right. Can you believe it? I didn't even care about Boom Boom. And before the thing with Tricia, I always cared about Boom Boom. She did smile then. You seemed to enjoy yourself last night. Yeah, well, he drank in the sight of her, those brandy brown eyes, the lush, delicious curves of her mouth, the thick cinnamon-kissed waves of her dark hair. My interest in Boom Boom has returned at last. It's a miracle. It started about a week ago, the day I met you. Her expression turned knowing. Oh, come on now. You'd have told me that day that you were only wanted to be friends. No, I said I would love to be friends, and I accepted the fact that you weren't going to have Boom Boom with me. That doesn't mean that I wasn't interested. I was from the first moment I saw you, and that was a great moment for me. It's been about 6 months since it ended with Tricia, and until 8 days ago I had nothing going on with any woman. No dates, no interest, not even a spark. She tried to be cynical. You're working me, right? To get me to say yes to this wild plan of yours. Next you'll be saying you fell in love with me at first sight. No way. He put a hand out, palm out, like a witness swearing on oath. I told you already. When it comes to love, I accepted the hard fact that I have no idea what it is or when I'm in it. That is, if I've ever been in it, which I seriously doubt. When it comes to love, I'd rather just not go there. The whole subject makes me nervous, you know what I mean. I don't understand it, and I just prefer to leave it alone. She studied his face for several long seconds. So you really, what you're proposing is a practical arrangement? He knew he was getting to her. He tried to not get too cocky, but he couldn't hide his excitement. That's right, that's it. You and me together, a team, getting everything we, 214, 215, 216, want out of life. We pool our experience, our resources, and we start a family. Wait, you want a family too? Haven't I just been saying that? No, you said I wanted a family, and you were willing to help me have one. Then let me correct that. I do want a family, and a family with you. Remember when you first told me about your dream for life? I do, yeah, sheesh. That was embarrassing. He didn't follow. Embarrassing how? Well, I mean that even after Kenny betrayed me, I actually considered taking him back. But I told you I could see what you were getting at, that you had a dream, and it was hard to give up that dream. Her expression softened. Yeah, you did understand, and I really appreciate that. And I'm trying to tell you now that when you described your dream to me, I started thinking how great that it would be to be a dad, to be a husband to someone like you, to have that big house with a bunch of kids. I realized something about myself. I was tired of being my family's last single maverick. I knew I could go for just the life that you were describing. Seriously, I could. Who knew? But it's true. I think the part that what's been eating at me this past several months is what I've been wanting, what a good time guy like me never wants, and I just wasn't ready to admit that yet, but I'm ready now, and I promise you, Joss, what I want is a great big family. I want that a lot. Her eyes had that special light in them again. Oh, this is so crazy. No, it's not. It's the same as two people can do. To get married because they want the same thing out of life, because they're good together in all the right ways. She picked up her coffee cup, looked in it, and set it back down. So if we did this, when would we do it? You mean when would we get married? Yeah. She seemed slightly breathless. I kind of would like a real wedding, you know. I would like to wear my dress. He sent a wary glance at the pile of white over on the sofa. That dress? She bit her lip. Tacky, huh, to marry you in the dress I chose to marry Kenny in? It did kind of bug him, but come on, what did it matter? It was just a dress, and if she liked it so much, why not? You want to wear that dress. You wear it. Oh, Jace, are you sure? 218. Absolutely. He stuffed his own discomfort at the thought of her coming down the aisle toward him wearing that dress. You wear your dress and we'll get married right here at the resort. I'm thinking on the last Saturday of the month. This month? Yeah, okay, I know it's quick, but I say we go for it. We put on a nice party together for our families and friends in the time we have till then, and then after that we get on with our lives. Out of nowhere she jumped up and headed for the bedroom. He watched her go, too surprised at the suddenness of her leaving to ask what was up. But then, a few seconds later, she returned with her cell phone. She tapped it a few times. That's the 28th. Saturday the 28th. So, okay, a calendar. She brought up the calendar on her phone. She slanted him a sharp look, and he realized she wanted confirmation. Sounds about right. She narrowed her eyes at the screen. That's 28 days. Tight. Josh, is that a yes? And page 219. She glanced up. Did I mention this is insane? Repeatedly, he pushed back his chair, captured her wrist, and took the phone from her hand and set it on the table. Is that a yes? She looked up at him, a little frown etching itself between her smooth brows. I mean, this would be for real. This would be the real marriage, and we would both give it everything. We would commit ourselves to making it work. He held her gaze and refused to waver. That's it. That's the plan. You would stick by me always? Tears welled in her fine eyes. He knew she was thinking of that jackass, Kenny, of how he messed around on her. I would, I swear it. Say yes. She dashed the tears away. Oh, Jace, we've known each other for only a week, 2 weeks also. I was supposed to be marrying someone else. We've been through all that. Yes, but stop right there. She blinked. What? You just said yes. That's the word. Say it again, minus the but. Oh my God, my mother is going to freak. Page 220. Josh, I mean it. Yes, or... With little cry, she put her cool, smooth fingers to his lips. Shh. Wait. He made a low sound, but he kept quiet. He waited. And then at last she swallowed hard, and she nodded. Yes, she said. This is so crazy, and I can't believe what I'm about to say, but yes, Jace. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. We're going to stop there, which leaves us this much to finish this book. And that's a good part. That's because tomorrow night I plan to overwhelm you all with Married at First Sight, the U.S., and Married at First Sight, the Australian edition. So you won't want to miss out. God bless. Good night. Keep your social distance. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. And if you can't wash your hands, keep that hand sanitizer nearby. Love each and every one of you. Stay safe.